I see they're about to make me, thank you, appreciate it. I see PIO wanted me to lead off with all the big stuff, so I'm going to bring that back to the end. But anyways,
Don't bury the lead.
Hey, have more time to talk about it. Put it at the end. I did want to say we had a busy week last week. Had a lot of good things going on. Had a busy weekend. It was great to see Pensacola back in a lot of different weekends. I know I saw people at Crawfish Festival. I did not have a chance. My problem is when all of a sudden I've realized when you're 51 and you work in the yard on things you haven't done in a long time, you all of a sudden hurt significantly this morning. So I'm trying to get back upright. If I don't quite get there, my muscles did a rough workout the last 2 days, but I would have rather been at Crawfish Festival. But I did go to an event Saturday night, just saw all the people downtown and certainly heard activity and stuff going on. I know we had the Fiesta run this weekend as well, so a lot of good things happening downtown and seeing things come back. And we're going to talk a little bit about COVID also right there and where we go from here. We're going to start, we're in the middle of the resident satisfaction survey. We are conducting the annual resident satisfaction survey that encourages city residents to participate and let their voices be heard. City residents are asked to complete a survey online at uwf.edu/Haas Research Center survey or by phone 850-495-2666 by Friday, July 23rd. Residents will also be receiving a postcard in the mail prompting them to complete the survey. The survey asks residents about their satisfaction with a variety of services and facilities, including streetlights, sidewalks, neighborhood safety, and more. City yard waste pickup is running behind. We were hitting the spring season like myself, and many of us got out there and did work. So due to the significant increase in yard waste, the City of Pensacola is running approximately a week behind its normal schedule. City sanitation crews are working 6 days a week until yard waste is back on schedule. Thank you for your patience and continuing to work with us. We will make sure that we get to you. This is only impacting yard waste. City Pensacola sanitation customers, garbage and recycling are running on schedule, and they're doing a great job. But whatever we need to do to continue to work on getting your yard waste, we're working on that. But I will say I know many of you are out there like myself working hard and making our yards look well, and so that's just part of it. We got a lot of people right now that are out there. Community Maritime Park lots 4 and 5. The City of Pensacola is accepting submittals for redevelopment of lots 4 and 5 of the Community Maritime Park. All interested parties are encouraged to make submissions by the deadline of 3 p.m. June 30th, 2021. Visit cityofpensacola.com for more information and submission and inclusion. Pensacola Bay Bridge update. FDOT contractors are working on the Pensacola Bay Bridge. The target reopening of the bridge is, of course, the end of May, that week, Memorial Day, on May 31st, 2021. It is expected that this will be a 2-lane opening, followed shortly by a 4-lane. Shortly after that, we are working, all the jurisdictions in our area sent a letter to the governor asking him to please make sure to keep the tolls from being collected until we can get the 4-lane back open, because 2 lanes is going to be nice, but it's going to still put a significant amount of traffic on a 2-lane road coming to Pensacola. If we have more options to filter people through, it will work better until we can get that 4-lane open. FDOT is reviewing the contractor schedule on the entire Pensacola Bay project and anticipated a completion date for all improvements currently scheduled for January 2022. So again, that would be moving everything forward. So we'll see what happens. Did at least want to also say I've got an email from Amy Miller, who says that one of the boats the ferries has showed up at the Port of Pensacola. So we have one of them. I don't know whether it's Pelican Perch or Turtle Runner. I do not know. But I do know one of them is there. My understanding is they still have to pass a Coast Guard inspection. They get that done. It gets refitted. Again, I hate to make any promises, but they were trying to shoot for this weekend being open. So check with I think it's I can't remember the Bay Cruise. What's the? I can't think of their website. Pensacola. Yes, if you check with their stuff, they'll let you know whether it's out there. We'll try to also, with Kimmy, we'll make sure to keep you updated if we get other information from them. We'll be working with Amy, so we would love to see that back open and operative, certainly by Mother's Day weekend, so that there'll be another opportunity to get to the beach. At least it may take about the same amount of time. Probably should be less time and probably definitely less stress to get on the water. So again, hopefully that option is going to be available for some of our citizens. COVID-19, our hospitalizations still continue to track. We're back down under 30. We've remained in the 20s. We continue to be moving in that direction. Our positivity rates are roughly in that 5 to 6%. Certainly we continue to operate there. That's a good thing. I think the biggest thing is I went to church on Sunday, and I agree with where my minister was, my priest, and talking about what's going on and where they're going. Much of what we did, we altered our lives in order to deal with this pandemic, and much of that was also giving ourselves time to come up with something that was a solution. And I think we have that now. And granted, for many months it was kind of scheduled, but we now today, this is Monday the 3rd of May, we are now 4 weeks from the beginning of opening to everyone over 18. Certainly everybody that wants vaccination can get one. By now you should have had, you could have had an opportunity to already have your second dose. So at this point, I do think there are things that we probably need to be reevaluating as we go forward, and I would expect to see some changes where we're going forward in COVID policies. Keith and I have had several discussions. I fear that sometimes our policies are preventing people from going and getting the shots, which is what we need them to do, and the vaccines, and certainly in talking with the hospitals, that's the biggest way we can continue to keep pushing things down, the numbers, and that's more the acuity. That does not mean that you will not get it, but everybody seems to agree that the more we push into the with the vaccine, it seems like the more likely, even if we get the virus, we're not getting the acuity, we're not getting the hospitalizations, we're not getting the mortality. These are all the things that we would love to see. As I said before, COVID's not going away, but we'd love to see COVID become the cold. Doesn't mean you won't get it, doesn't mean you couldn't be sidelined and have to go home for a couple of days, but it means it shouldn't put you in the hospital and it shouldn't kill you. So if we can get to that point, we will have moved in the right direction, and we'd love to see everything beginning to get back open. And so I do think you're going to see a lot of organizations begin to rethink as they go May into the summer about where we are and what we do as we move forward. So I think that's certainly one of those things with COVID that we should be thinking about. Now perhaps the big news that everyone is here. We have made a selection, and that individual has accepted. We have a new chief of police for the Pensacola Police Department with a tentative start date of Monday, June 14th. Is going to be Chief Eric Randall. Eric is the individual who was from Pensacola, who has been in Newport News, working there as an assistant chief. I can tell you, as I said before, we had 3 great candidates. I mean, it was fun. It was funny. I was sitting with people and they were talking about it, and they were going, "Man, I wouldn't want to make your choice." I said, "Well, actually, the choice is pretty easy because we can go with any 3 of them, and we're going to have somebody great." So the question really came down to who was right for us. I think conversations I had with both command staff and getting the reports from PPD, the rank and file, they certainly liked their time with incoming Chief Eric Randall. Also, I will say, I thought personally, just from a person to person, we got along, probably had the best interview, or at least just the discussions we had. I felt very good. We had a great discussion, of course, being from here. I think there's some things about Chief Randall, and you see he may not have been as polished as some of the people, but what I liked is he had heart, and you can't teach heart and you can't teach passion. So he had those things. He also probably was the biggest leader in figuring out how to use technology to make it better for us to be able to police, that makes it safer for our police and safer for our citizens. So I think as we move forward, you're going to see us embracing more technology in what we do in policing. And third, it was just good to have. There's been a lot of talk about implicit bias, and I've admitted to y'all several times in here, I know I have an implicit bias, and that's towards people who are from Northwest Florida. So again, I think at the end of the day, I probably felt more comfortable in a lot of ways, just all the things that were there. We had 3 really close candidates, and it came down to very small margins about how you felt in different ones. But at the end of the day, I think he was the right choice for us. As I said before, you could have a different one. You could think that somebody else was best. But for me, it was about the right choice. And I think based on the response I got from PPD and the response I got from myself personally, we had a good time. We sat there and talked. We were only about 3 years apart. We actually were at Washington at the same time. He did play football with a lot of the people that I played football with as a freshman. I didn't continue, but he played as a freshman. That team lost to Pine Forest by 1 point. Pine Forest went on to win the state championship that year. Those were some of those great Pine Forest teams that came through there. So we had a good time. It was fun, though. We did reminisce and seeing Brian Cooper back there. Back in the old days, there was City Football League, and he played for Catalona, which was Catalona Park right there in East Hill. I played at Cordova Park. We were talking about some of those things. We were at Morello Park where we practiced. I think there were Mallory Heights for a long time in the 70s, early 80s, and then switched over to Cordova Park when I came through in the mid-80s. But it was kind of fun, having a lot of the same experiences, talking about a lot of the things. It was really good. Let me say, I'm incredibly impressed by both Booker Hodges and by John Ortolano. Both of them were impressive. They just didn't come out to be what we thought was the right one, and I have every bit of confidence that we will see them doing great things in policing going forward, and it really restored my faith in policing. There's also another individual that I definitely want to recognize, and that's Acting Chief Chrisman at this point, Kevin Chrisman in the back. He went through this process. He certainly was a great individual, and I'm sure that someday he will be Chief of Police of the City of Pensacola. But when he embraced the process, worked with us through it, certainly worked with all the individuals, had a significant discussion. I told you personally with all 3 of them and talked about Chief Chrisman, and they all said that he was somebody who they felt was an extreme asset as a deputy chief, and we look forward to seeing him work there and continuing to serve the citizens of Pensacola, and he's done an excellent job, and I really appreciate the way he handled this and working through, and it's a credit to him and everything he's done, so very much appreciate his work on that. But that's all for me. I'm now happy to answer any of your questions, so I'll be happy to ask.
Start date again, June 14th?
Yes, I do believe. Yes.
So both Doug Broxton and Alex Andrade have indicated firm confidence in the Memorial Day and optimism that it would even be sooner than that, maybe mid-May for a 2-lane opening. What's your sense of that possibility?
Same thing. Same thing. I mean, I continue to feel better about the bridge than I do the landing. I mean, everyone continues to talk about the bridge, Andrew. I'm the only one that's been, since January, I've been screaming about the landing, because it seems like if you have a bridge and you drive across it and you just turn back around, it doesn't seem much of a bridge. So I've been very concerned about the landing since January. I continue to be concerned about the landing.
The overpass is done, right? Westbound?
Well, the overpass is in. They don't have any guardrails up. They don't have any concrete poured. They don't have any asphalt on it. So it's in as much as it's in. Yeah, it's got some dirt on it. It's got some clay, but it's a long way from being drivable. So again, somewhere in that, I'm more optimistic on the bridge than I am the landing. But yeah, somewhere they won't be able to open the bridge. The bridge could be ready to open. They couldn't open it until they get the landing done. So. I think you're going to see a lot of stuff happening in the next 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks ago, if you'd come to my house, that's what I was. My son's coming back from law school and bringing a girl that he's been seeing there, and so it's been like full on at my house trying to get everything ready. We've been under construction with a pool and a outdoor kitchen, and 2 weeks ago there was nothing there, and in 2 weeks we've managed to rush, and it's almost there, so hopefully it's going to be ready everything will be ready by Thursday. So it's amazing what can get done in 2 weeks when everybody pushes. So I hope that's the case too. I drove by it just now. I mean, they got a lot of stuff still to do on that landing. Yes.
During the, I guess the question and answer period, the virtual question and
Yeah.
answer period, Randall talked about having citizen committees to both look at leadership positions as well as use of force incidents. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, I'm going to work with the chief. He knows best what's the right thing for what he's managing. I will look to him and see what's going on. I do want to, Jeremy, I do want to qualify a little bit of stuff. He's talking about advisory committees, which I think are great. He's not talking about a committee that's going to have oversight. So sometimes again we get very lost in some of the discussions. But if the police themselves want to have something like that, and the chief wants to have something, it's certainly up to him. He's been hired, and I look for him to do what he feels is right by his department and by the community. And so, I think those are things which we hired him for a reason. We're going to let him lead. I'm not going to tell him how to do his job, and we're going to go forward. That's everyone you see out there. We hired them. We let them go do their jobs. I don't try to micromanage any of my managers. Just try to keep working what we can do in an overall theme. So I think he's got a lot of good ideas. Again, I think what I saw about Eric more than anything else is his use of technology. He probably had more than any other candidate, and I think there are things that we can do. There were some of the things that were discussed in there with camera work, some of the other things that we can be doing, and continuing to look to enhance how we police, and maybe find ways to police with less confrontation between police and citizen. I know that's been a big part of also the discussion, but a lot of it's going to just be attitude as well. Got a really good compliment on Facebook the other day about an officer, Cotton, I believe, who just went up and talked with that. So I mean, we were talking about community policing. There was a lot of discussion about that. Certainly, incoming Chief Randall is very versed in that use. So I expect to see a lot of different things, and I want him to manage it what he thinks most effective. He was chosen because of the things that he's done and experiences he's had. We want him to bring some new ideas to PPD and thoughts of where we can do things. Yes.
His pay is going to be the same as current chief pay, and will Chrisman have a return of pay to the deputy position? Okay. Kevin's going to be, and we'll certainly work with all those things as we go forward. I see Ted in the back, and I'm confident we can work with all those things to make sure everybody's adequately compensated. We really appreciate, like I said, the work Kevin did, and he showed a lot of leadership. And did Randall pledge to you that he was not bringing in any command staff with him, that everybody's going to stay as is? Absolutely. That's part of our deal. I mean, that's when I had the one-on-one conversations, and I asked every one of the applicants. I asked them that, and from my standpoint, wanted to make sure that they were committed. They're bringing ideas. We want them to bring their ideas, but we don't want them to bring their people. We want them to develop the people we have. We've talked about it at length. We have great people there. And I missed it the other day, and we talked about it here. I don't know how many of you got a chance, not last Friday, but the Friday before. I don't know how many of y'all got to watch the Dateline, or how many of our citizens got to watch it. If you got to watch that, I mean, it's impressive. I mean, I don't watch a lot of those shows. My wife loves them. I used to tell Tommy if I end up disappearing, Jill's the first suspect for sure, because she loves those shows. But she even talked about, she was like, oh my God, PPD looks so impressive, the whole thing. And I said, they are impressive. They are impressive. Just because you're impressive doesn't mean you can be better, that you can learn different things. You can't get better. We can always be getting better. And I think that's the idea of what we wanted. But by no means was I ever trying to say that we weren't impressive. We have great people that if you look at the things they did and you go back and watch that, it would have been very easy to jump to a conclusion and arrest the wrong person. We could have easily done that. But that's not what our team did. They went through it. They thought about it methodically. They solved it and got it done. And it was not an easy case to solve. So, it shows the great work that they do.
and all the officers that were recognized in that, they did an amazing job, and they just show what we can do at PPD and what we do every day. So we're a great organization. Yes, Jim.
When will Randall's selection go before the city council?
Thursday, next Thursday. We already had the spot reserved, so we just need to put the person in. So we will put his in, try to get him at least maybe a Teams meeting with the different council members between now and then, so we'll have a chance to sit down and talk with him, and we'll try to schedule that up, and we'll look forward to that. I mean, I always look forward to what they have to say, but I remind them that this is a confirmation that they don't see any necessarily problem with the selection. It's not, did I like Booker Hodges or John Ortolano better and want to vote. They don't vote on that part. They're just simply voting to simply say, is this person a good person, a good fit for us? And I think if you had the chance to sit down with Eric, he, like I said before, his passion for his job and his passion for Pensacola come through very loud and clear when you sit down and talk with him. Did you have something, Andrew?
Yeah, I was curious your reaction to the Saturday opening of the new shelter on Davis, and what that does, if anything, to change your plans for the day facility that you've been kind of...
No, I think we're still moving forward with our plans. That was one of the ones that we thought had the ability to open and get moving. Also getting Salvation Army, the one that closed, back open is those two things have been, pretty much some of the main things we've been looking at. I think we still have a plan of what we want to do with some of that. I think there are some things that government can do well, but we also look to work with our partners. For anything, the last probably 8-9 months has really helped us sort of get better about what we're doing. I see we've got Dr. Marbut back again, so we'll hopefully be finalizing his stuff and see him back there with Lawrence. So I know he's been working with us. So as soon as we can get this implemented and go forward, like I said before, we're in a different place than even what we were thinking about doing in November. We've thought of some different things that we could do, and I think it's exciting. A little bit is going to depend on what happens. We're still waiting for this ARPA. I think on the 10th or 11th, I think Keith Amy said we were going to get some instructions as to how we can spend this money. So if it was like CARES, there was the opportunity for us to do some things in dealing with homelessness. We certainly believe that. Again, a large part of it is also going to be how can we deal with some rental assistance issues to make sure we don't get people homeless. So we want to figure out as much way we can to keep people in their homes. But if you are homeless, we want to find ways to work with you to at least have a path back, and trying to get back, and we're working very diligently. Some of it are things that we can provide, some facilities and some services, but a lot of it's going to be dependent upon probably private sector partners. So I think creating that coalition for homelessness reduction in Northwest Florida was huge. That really happened sort of about the first of the year. We were working, Connie Bookman coming over, working with John Johnson to make that happen has been very important. That group has stood up a lot of the things we've been doing and working with them and partnering with them, because we're not trying to do it ourselves. We can't do everything at the City of Pensacola, but we can be a partner, and we're working with those partners to be a process. And again, for all the people out there listening and everything else, it's a fairly open partnership coalition. You want to be a part of it, they'd be happy to work with you. We're partnering with them, but I'd reach out to John Johnson at Opening Doors and Connie Bookman at Pathways for Change. They're both kind of spearheading it, and they are looking to be as involved with anybody that deals with homelessness and being a part of the team. Dave.
Yeah, this is a little off the subject, but not to get your thoughts on Bill Nelson becoming NASA chief, and given that and SpaceX already at the port, do you think this might bode well to get some business from NASA coming in?
I think Pensacola is positioning itself to deal with what comes forward. I think when you look at Space Command is going to be just up in Huntsville, not far away. We went through that process. We got a lot of good information working with Scott Luth and there was a lot of good things turned back to us to let us know what we could do. Again, I don't know that we were always going for the command, but we were certainly always going for the training command side of it. I think what we do here with the Navy is a good fit all the way around. So we think we have a real good place to play. We've got, obviously, we have Blue Origin here with their boat. We had the SpaceX land here. So there are a number of things that we can be very, very good at doing some of this as we move forward. And we're excited about what that is. Now, as far as Senator Nelson is a very good personal friend of my family's. My father and the senator were fraternity brothers at Florida. They went freshmen at the Florida legislature together and have worked together. Senator was very instrumental in working with Restore and worked with him to make that happen. When we needed to get disaster declaration after the 14 flood, he was very instrumental in doing that as well. So he has always been a friend of Northwest Florida. So that's very exciting, and I'm happy personally for him, and I think it will bode well for all of Florida, and that certainly includes Northwest Florida, because he was very he was very supportive of Northwest Florida while he was a senator and while I was a commissioner, and working with him. So I'd love to see that pay off for us and have some of those things happen right here in Pensacola dealing with space.
Man, you made the comment earlier when you talked about COVID. You said you think policies may be preventing people from getting vaccinated. What do you mean by that?
I would love to see, we've kind of debated, I know Keith and I have gone back and forth. I mean, the purpose of this is trying to get people vaccinated, and we've already seen, at least the CDC has said, hey, if you've gotten vaccinated, there's really no reason for you to wear a mask outside. I'd love to see more of that kind of becoming also the same thing in there. I think we told you probably a couple of months ago. I mean, we had directors coming to us and said, listen, I can get more people to sign up for the shot if you could tell them they wouldn't have to wear the mask. So I don't know. Those are kind of things we've got to be looking at, Jim, and certainly masks have been important. Masks were vitally important while we had no vaccine. But today we have a vaccine. So I think we do need to look and see what's best. And I think long term, I think the numbers and what we've seen and what happened with the numbers coming down and numbers staying down is probably much more related to the vaccine. Certainly, I think the masks do play a positive role in that, and while you have that, I have no problem. But I think now we need to really be asking ourselves, are we doing something that prevents people from going and getting the vaccine? And we just got to work with that. And I see I probably already started a HR discussion between by my comments. So anyways, well, if nothing else, we got a lot going on at the City of Pensacola. Things are certainly happening, and we will be in touch. But thank you very much for being here today.